How is it going, everybody? I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today's project is, nope, not the Tahoe. Nope, not the red car. The black car again. And as soon as I started doing this video, listen. Every single video I do, and there's not a single night that goes by that we don't hear at least one. I hope they are okay. Hope everything comes out okay each and every time, but it never fails. But today's project is the black car, the black 1993 Z28. It is now time to put brakes on it. It's not the first time, but it is time to do it. So let's get to it. Now I'm always doing crazy things, and I'm an auto mechanic, so you know I'm consciously aware of what I need to do to my cars at all time. So I'm constantly checking my brakes, I'm constantly doing this, constantly doing that, but sometimes money is an issue, like with everybody. So I have neglected these for a while, and I should have done it. These brakes have probably been on this car for, if I had to guess, I would say 9-10 years. And yes, that seems like a long time. But for a while, this car wasn't getting driven that much because I had two other vehicles I was driving at that time. So I kept this one under the garage, covered up and everything, and broke it out on the weekends or just when I wanted to drive it. But now this is basically my main daily driver for me. The wife drives the Tahoe. So I'm trying to stay on top of the things like you're supposed to do. So it's time to do the brakes, and I've got something to take care of the rotors coming here within the next month or two. But yeah, it's time for the brakes to be changed on the front. The backs are fine, I checked them, but these are long overdue. And I'll walk you through some things you do not want to do, which I have done, but you do not want to do yourself because it could cost you a lot of money in the long run. Now, I've got the hood open, and you may be asking, why do I have the hood open? Let me explain. In the United States, anything that you should be checking yourself is marked 90% of the time. Most American cars like Chevy, Ford, and GM, and Dodge, Chrysler, they mark them in yellow. That way you know that this is a warning thing. You can see my yellow is long gone, but it was there. It was yellow at one time. You can see the oil cap still has the yellow on it. The engine oil dipstick still has it. The red is the transmission fluid. Now most of your foreign manufacturers, for whatever reason, like Nissan, Honda, Toyota, they either will do theirs in a red or some kind of weird looking orange. I don't know, I guess they think it draws more attention to it. Whatever the reason, they do it. But the reason that we are under the hood is because one of the, sorry about the wind, nothing I can do about it. The reason we're under the hood is because you constantly want to keep a check on this. This is your brake fluid reservoir. No matter what car, it is always going to be in this general location. Nissans and some Infinitis have plastic shrouds around them, covering them, so you have to take the shroud off. It's just a little lever you push and lift it up to get to it. But you always want to keep a check on this. Number one, you want to keep a check on it because if it's constantly getting low, then that tells you you more than likely have a leak somewhere and you need to take it to a mechanic and or a shop and get it checked out. But you can watch it and maintain where it is. Right now mine is under this lip. Low fluid, if it's not constantly going low after you fill it up, will show you about when it's time to change your brakes. Believe it or not, if you fill it up to the recommended level when you get new brakes, if you fill up to the recommended level, when it gets down halfway or 2/3 to the low mark, it will be time to change your brakes. Never fails. Don't go by that, but that's just a easy way to think about it, an easy way to halfway monitor it. But the reason we're in here today is we want to check and see how much fluid is in it. As you can see, I'm full, but I'm just below this mark, okay? And the reason you want to check that is because we're going to be compressing the brake calipers. And when you do that, it will take the brake fluid that is in line, going from there down to your brake caliper. and it will push some of that back up into that reservoir. So if that is too full, when you press it back up in there, it'll start coming out and running all down your painted surfaces and everything. And brake fluid is not good for painted surfaces. Not good at all. Don't do it. So monitor that while you're doing this. Do one side, check it. If you need to take some out, use a rag, a sponge, a syringe if you have one handy, like a turkey baster or whatever, and get that out. Okay? That's your first step. Second step is you now have to get the wheel off the car. To do that, you're going to need two things, okay? Well, three. You're going to need a jack, right? You don't have to have this fancy one. You can have a scissor jack or anything. And you need something to put under the car to support it, right? Ratcheting jack stand. You don't have to have that. You have bricks, tires, wood, whatever. No matter what you use, make sure it's sturdy, that it's not going to fall over whenever you put it under the car. Because you do not want to trust a jack to support the weight of the car. I know people do it. It is not safe. Don't do it. The reason I say that is you've got all that weight of that car, or that car, with hydraulic fluid and a few seals that are in the pistons holding all that weight. It's man-made. It will fail. It's not a matter if. Well, yeah, it's not really a matter of if, it is a matter of when it will fail. It will fail. So by all means, always, when you jack a car up, something under it to support it. It's up to you if you want to put anything under the back tires or not. I have my emergency braking gauge, so I know that the car's not going to roll back. So that's good enough for me, but I strongly recommend putting something behind the tire. Use your own judgment on that one. It's your call. Then you're going to need something to break the tire loose. In my case, since I have chrome wheels, I'm using a non-marring. That's what this plastic is. The plastic sleeve will actually slide up and reveal that there's a lug nut in there, or a lug nut socket in there. And my particular size for this car is 19 millimeter, okay? Then you need something, and this is a 1/2 inch drive, so I have to have a 1/2 inch ratchet, breaker bar, it doesn't matter what you use, lug nut, lug wrench that happens to be a 19 millimeter, whatever. You got to have something to break it loose, is what I'm telling you. And that's what I'm going to be using for mine, okay? Then you have to have more tools here in just a second. Nothing major, nothing fancy. We'll get to those in just a minute. But that's what you need to have to get the car off the ground and get it supported and get the wheel off. So let's get to it.
Day in, day out, it's the same road we're walking down. Same job, same town, 'cause we've been told that's the way our world goes round. Walking on the grounds we've always known, stepping on the footprints in the snow. But when it melts, the other ways will show. We're gonna make the footsteps on our own. That life can wait just for a while. That life can wait, so take that aside and just go.
Again, I'm sorry about the wind, everybody. Next up is the tools you're going to need to get that caliper off of the car, okay? But first, let me talk about something. I've had a question about what I did to paint my calipers, and as you can see, the brake pads actually go over the calipers just a little bit. So I know there's going to be a spot behind there because this is how I did it. I didn't want to take my calipers off and all that stuff because I knew I was going to be putting brakes on when I did this. So what I did was I just taped everything. I put a piece of tape across there, went around this and pinched it together. You know, I just taped off everywhere I didn't want paint to get. And as you can see, I did a pretty good job. It took me like, God, I don't know, 5 minutes to tape it off and another 2 minutes to paint it. Is it perfect? No. Is it 100%? No. Most people don't even paint this. I just thought it added a little bit more detail to it rather than just having the caliper painting. I did the bottom also. As you can see, it just makes it look better because rather than having this with all that dirty aluminum and steel and metal and all that good stuff, you have just a little bit more detail to it. Now what I used And I'm not a big fan of Rust-Oleum paint. It takes a little while longer to dry. It takes longer for it to start to set. It runs if you apply it too thick. You got to go real thin. And this is no different. You have to apply it in a couple coats. It doesn't take 15 seconds for it to start to set up, so you can hit it with the second coat 15-20 seconds. But what I used was Rust-Oleum caliper paint. I got the red that they had, and it's just called caliper paint red, which as you can see is a bright red. Sprayed a couple coats on it, peeled the tape back off, good to go. As you can see, it wasn't perfect. I got some right there and right there, but I knew I was going to be changing these, so no big deal. And I'm going to be changing these out too. I got something coming for that, as I promised. Sorry about hitting the camera, but I've got something coming for that too. But that's how I did. I just taped it off front and back. Anything I didn't want paint to get on. It's not a fine jet stream that comes out, but it is controllable as far as how wide the pattern is and how close you get. So you don't have to tape off every single thing under there. You know, about that far out from whatever you're going to paint, you're good to go. You're golden. Worked perfect. It took it about an hour to actually dry, and I'd say that it actually took, I don't know, I gave it overnight, and it got dried to the touch and cured, if you will. It cured overnight. But yeah, I did it before, probably, God, I don't know, 15 years ago. It was a darker red. I think that color was VHT color, if I'm not mistaken, because they didn't have caliper paint back then. It was engine paint, and I wanted something that would withstand the heat. So I used the VHT engine paint. But now we're still having the caliper paint. And that's what I used. Now, up next, you of course will need something to wipe your hands with that is blowing across there with the wind. Okay? Then you're going to need the appropriate wrench. Now this will work with any and all cars out there, but I will walk you through a couple things when we do it. It's not hard, super easy. Anybody can do it that wants to. This particular car has Allen bolts in it instead of like regular square head bolts, like say a 10 or a 12 or a half or 7/16. This has Allen bolts in it, and I'll show them to you when I get them out. But it takes a Allen wrench, and in this case I'm using an Allen socket. I've got the regular wrenches down there, but me being a mechanic, speed is money for me and for the shop owner, right? So I'm going to be using the Allen wrench to get it out on my socket, and once I break it loose, I will actually be using a battery powered ratchet to extract it even quicker. You don't need those. All you need is a regular Allen wrench, if that's all you've got, or a regular socket with the socket square head on it, right? That's all you need. That's just a very basic. You're going to need a screwdriver, a flathead. The reason for it, get down here so I can show you. This is why you want the jack stand. You're going to be under the car a little bit. The reason you want the screwdriver is this piston is pushing against the rotor, and there's not constant pressure on it. There's springs that push the brake pads back, but what happens is there's just enough pressure on there to where 9 times out of 10 this will not fall off. So you take the screwdriver, you stick in between the rotor and your caliper, and you pull out on it, and that, you'll see me do it. You pull out on it. What that does, it pulls the caliper against the back of the rotor and squeezes that in, okay? And since there's nothing inside pushing against the pedal, it won't come back out, and that will allow you to get this off, okay? Now I know when I take this off, I'm going to have to touch up that paint. No big deal. When you do take this off, you don't want to just let it dangle. You want to support it some kind of way. Clothes hanger, bungee cord, whatever you want to use. I normally hook it either to the spring or up here to the upper control arm and just let it dangle while I do the brakes, you know, get them off and all that stuff, because it's kind of hard. Well, not hard, but it's kind of aggravating trying to hold this, get these brakes off and all that. So you want something to hold it up. I'll show you what I use. It's super cheap. You can get it anywhere, even dollar store sells them, but I'll show you that in just a second. Again, it's not mandatory. I'm just showing you what you absolutely basically need. The basic thing you need is a screwdriver, a Allen wrench, and some way to compress that piston back into your caliper. I'll show you the old school way and I'll show you the new school way. And one other tool I forgot to mention. Energy drink of the day. Today's choice, Mountain Dew. The old school way is C-clamp, right? We can turn around here again so I can show you. Sorry about the sniffles. Cold. Trying to get one. I've been trying to get one for a week and I can't seem to shake it. I don't have allergies. The pollen's not bothering me. People at work's been sick, so I'm trying to evidently catch what they have. Let me set you down here. Now the old school way is to take a C-clamp and come around and attach it here and attach it here and tighten it down. Okay, that's one way. What it does is it pulls this against the back, which squeezes that in. So let me get you to the next step, or the second old school way. Now all we gotta do is put a wrench in. All right, make sure we got it knob where we tap. Take it off, get it in there, and just break it loose. And then once you get the top one, do the same to the bottom. Get my pad turned around. Getting old sucks, so I need a knee board. Oops, sorry about that. Had to see where I was going. So you just stick it in. Make sure it's in there again tight. And just a quick little bump on the handle breaks it loose. All right. We're gonna let you ratchet. See how quick that was? Beats turning it by hand, right? Like I said, you take it, you stick it in between the caliper and the rotor. Just give it a slight tug, alright? You see how loose it is now? It can actually come off by hand almost. You do it again. Sometimes you have to do it a couple times. Oh, just like that. And I'll show you this in a minute. And as you can see, like I said, I didn't paint the bottom of it, so I'm going to touch that up while I'm in here. That's all there is to it. Now we want to compress the brake pads, but rather than me stand here and hold this joker, I'm going to take the pads out, right? And then take one of my handy dandy planter hooks, which you can buy anywhere. I got these at the dollar store. Just stick it in there to hold it, and then take it to wherever you can get it. In this case, I'm going all the way up, and voila, it holds it. Very, very simple to do. Now this is an old school method too. And what you would do is you'd actually leave the back pad in, okay? Leave the back pad in. Then you take the C-clamp, open it all the way up. And put it on there like that. And then compress it down. And that compresses that back in. But there's actually a new cool tool out there. And let me show it to you. The cool new tool I was referring to, let me get you up here so you can see it. This happens to be by Blue Point. It'll take care of a 4-piston caliper at the same time, because this is a single. The 4 or the 2 or even the 4 will have 2 over here, 2 over there, or you know, vice versa, 1 here, 1 there. And what this does is it goes in between them and you ratchet it. It's a ratcheting wrench. It pushes apart. I'll show it to you real quick how it works. Now the way this works is you run it all the way in, then you flip the switch. Right here is the flip. Flip that and get it to where it goes out. Now you kind of look and see how wide you need for this to be spread apart. Well, with that pad in there, I don't have enough room, so I know I need to take that pad out. Some cars you need to leave them, some you don't. You just take the pad out. Put it in there. Right, see now it'll go in. I'll get you so you can see it just a little bit better. And then you just hold the 2 sides and ratchet it out. And all this is doing is pushing that piston back in. That's all it's doing. If you run out of room after so long, and you'll know it because this will start clicking and it won't be pushing. If you run out of room, you back it back out, put the caliper back in, and redo it. That simple. And you just do it until it stops. I'm gonna get you up here and show you. Sorry about all the moving around. But now you can see my piston is pushed all the way back in. And I'm gonna let that sit there for a second, because if I don't, the hydraulic pressure that's still on it will try to push it back out, and you'll never get your brake pads back on. And we also need to push these pins in just a hair. And that's very simple. Just take a hammer and lightly tap it. They should be free floating. If they're not, you need to take them out and clean them. And all you do is just knock them out, wipe them off with some kind of degreaser, and put some grease back on it and push it back in. That's all there is to it. We're running into a little snag, which I was talking about the pins, okay? Let me show you. If you look up here, you can see this one slides in and out. That's exactly what you want, okay? You want that to slide in and out. It's a little snug, but this one, the bolt pushes in and out, but the actual slide pin won't. And what happens is, this bolt will run in all the way, okay? And I'm going to show you how to tell when you take your pads off that you have a slight problem. This bolt will run in and tighten down on the inside of this caliper bracket, okay? That pin stays inside the caliper, and whenever the caliper pushes in to set the brakes and apply the brakes, it puts pressure on the rotor. But when you let off the brake pad, it needs a way to slide back. That's what this pin does. It allows the caliper to slide on and off that pin for the pressure that you generate from inside. And here's a way to tell that it's not working properly. See how thick this is the back. See how thick that is? The actual brake pad material compared to the front side. The front side was sticking just a little bit. Let me hold them up here side by side, see, well, not side by side, but let me hold them up here so you can see them. See how there's a difference in thickness? I hope you can see that. So it has started sticking recently. So we need to get that out and clean it and grease it. Now all you have to do is take a screwdriver, a nail, anything you got handy, put on the head of the bolt and tap it through, okay? As you can see, the bolt has a slide on it also. And I can run my fingers on it. It's got a little bit of grease on it, but it is really, really dry. So all you want to do is wipe that off. If you need to, get some brake cleaner and clean it. Right? See how clean it is now? If you have to, get some brake cleaner and clean it. But we need to get the bushing out now. Same way. Screwdriver in, and just take something, doesn't matter what it is, and tap that out. There you go. See? It's real simple to do, guys. See, it's not hard at all. See, there's actually a little bit of rust and buildup right there. That is what's preventing it from sliding back and forth. So we take it and clean it off. And like I said, if we have to, we'll get some brake cleaner or a Scotch-Brite pad or something. See, that comes right off. Just enough to prevent it from sliding. It comes right off. Now, the thing about this is, your new shoes will not come with this. The only way you'll get these parts new is to order the hardware kit new, or to order a brand new caliper, and it will come with all this. So now I'm going to get the top one out, which is, as you already seen, slides in and out. If you're going to do one, do both. If you don't, you're asking for trouble. So I'm going to go ahead and get the other one out. No need in you watching me get it out, and go from there. Here's the other one. It's okay on this side, but as you go around, you can see old paint, old crud buildup and everything. And then like before, you just get as much of that off as you can. And this has so much on it that the bolt won't even come out. Okay? So I got to knock the bolt out, and then we'll go from there. As you can see, this is coming off, but it's not real easy. So what I'm going to do is I got me a pen. I got to paint the caliper anyway. I'm just going to spray this down real good. Let it soak for a second. Right? Brake cleaner. Spray it down for a second, let it set. Watch all the dirt come out of it. And then somewhere, there we go, I got a piece of Scotch-Brite. And I'll just scuff that up after I let it set for a second and work in. I recommend using gloves when you do this, but I don't have any at home, so I'm keeping my hands away from any fluids, like the brake cleaner, which is, you know, kind of unhealthy for you. It goes in through your pores of your skin. And then I'm using a towel to keep me from it. Then you just take the Scotch-Brite and work it. And it may take a second. If you have a grinder with a wire brush on it, use that. But as you can see, it comes right off. The main thing is letting the chemicals soak in and do its job. See? Comes right off. I'm going to hit it with the chemical again, let it set, and we'll be right back. Alright, here we go. We're getting ready to put her back together. As you can see, everything's moving fine, freely. But over time, if you don't protect this some kind of way, it's going to want to rust. So what you do is get some, this is just happened to be a, I don't even know who it's by, some cheap all-purpose grease. If you have the brake stuff laying around, the brake lube, brake grease, or all that, go for it. But it's not necessary. Just take your little dab of any kind of grease, right? Any moving part, rub it on there, right? Wipe it off your finger so you don't get it all over you and your clothes. And work it back and forth in there and rub it as you go. Now listen to how loose that is. That's what you want. It's in there, it's on there, but I'm going to put just a dab more. You don't want to overdo it because you just have grease hanging out everywhere. It's going to collect dust, which will stop this from working right. But I just want to make sure that this is going to work correctly, right? Put it in, spin it around. And as you can see, this brake hardware actually has a detent right there, which prevents the bolt from coming out. Well, the bolt came out of the other one, but it's no big deal. It doesn't matter. It just gives me more room to get that grease in there even better, so I'm not worried about that. So all you do is rub all that off. Now we need to put some around the shaft, right? Doesn't take a lot. A little dab will do you. Put it on there. Rub it in. And you're good to go. Because this is going to be inside that rubber bushing, so it doesn't matter about that. You can actually use the grease pack that comes with the brakes to do that. It's actually designed for that. But I just had this thing of grease laying here and I wasn't using it. I like using this actually on the brake pads themselves. I'll show you that here in just a second. Alright, what brake pads they get? Duralast. These are the OE quality brakes, or OE equivalent. I didn't go all out and buy the high performance stuff yet because this is just my daily driver. I'm not tracking it anymore or racing or anything. So this is good enough. I've used these before. They don't create a lot of dust and all that stuff. They work really good. But the first thing you want to do is make sure they match what you have. Old pad, new pad. Look at the shape. Make sure it's the same size. And you can see it was time for new ones. But you make sure everything matches. Make sure the back of them matches. As you can see, these are going to need to be squeezed in a little bit more so they fit. No problem. They're very springy, very easy to do. Okay. No problem to bend them at all. There's the back. And the front. Make sure tabs are the same. Turn around, make sure the pads are the same, the shape's the same, the length is the same. Make sure everything's the same. Even make sure the squealer pad goes on the same side. As you can see, I have this oriented the same way. Squealer's here, squealer's there. I need the other pad so the squealer's in the same place. So you get it, make sure it's the same. And voila, it is. Good to go. Okay, I'm going to show you another step. This is not mandatory. It's just we do it at work and I like it, so I'm going to do it on this particular car. You don't have to do it on yours. It's not necessary. But with today's modern rotors and today's modern brake pads, sometimes the different metals and composites and stuff that's in them will cause squealing, chatter, whatever. there's actually a coating that you can put on the brake pad itself. If you buy the high dollar stuff, it comes with it. If you buy the high dollar brake pads, it's like a zinc coating or whatever, I forget exactly what it is, but it comes on it and it prevents the squealing. If you buy the cheaper ones, you run the risk of it. Well, I didn't get the more expensive ones and I've never had an issue with that, but I'm going to make certain from now on that I don't. And the way you do that is Stop Squeal by BG Products. I'll put a link to it in the description below, and it's very simple to apply. The way they showed us to do it at work, heat the pad up a little bit, and the way you do that is with a torch. And don't touch it because it's going to be warm. Shake up your product real good. Alright, you can see just a little hole. Put it on there, work it back and forth. Coat the pad real good. Sorry, it's kind of hard to do this one-handed. You don't squeeze or anything, you just let it come out at its own pace. Coat the pad. You're not trying to wash it, you're just trying to coat it. See, just like that. Now you take something and push it to the side. Don't touch it because it's still warm, to let it dry. And then you do the same thing to the other pad. Doesn't matter how you go about putting it on, just coat the whole thing. Like I said, you're not trying to get every square inch, you're not trying to paint it, wash it, whatever you want to look at. You just want to get it on there. And what this does, the reason you heat it up, number one, it opens up the pores in the ceramics and stuff that's in the pads. Number two, the residual heat that's left in the pads dries the product. But with the pores open, the product goes in the pad deeper and prevents that initial squealing. Because what happens is, basically whenever you buy new brakes anyway, it comes with ridges, it comes with coating, and all you're doing is mating that surface to this surface. So when you go down the road for your first couple stops, you know, you drive 15-20 miles an hour, apply the brake like normal, and that is actually taking that finish and mating it to this finish. It's mating the two. Well, this will stop any squealing in between those two mating times. Make sense? I hope so. If you don't understand it, please give me a call, and I will do my, or not a call, a message, and I will do my best to explain that to you. But you just let that dry, and while that's drying, I'm going to paint this, and you don't want to watch me do that. Alright, remember that little packet of ceramic stuff I showed you earlier? As you can see, it's good for everything. It's for your brake pads, your squealers, your shims, everything. But there's just not a bunch in this. There's enough. Don't get me wrong, there's plenty in here, but I just like using the grease because I have found, well, I had the grease, like I said, and I have found that it just works better on that. But this stuff, use it wherever you have any moving parts with the brakes. The shims and everything, grease is fine, but like on here where your brake pads are going to be riding, you want to put some on there. Let me try to, on the back sides of your pads, if you don't have the shims for it. Let me show you what I'm talking about. These particular brakes come with these shims, okay? And what happens is, these, let me get an old pair and show you. Let's just imagine that this is the new brakes, okay? Let's imagine this is the new brakes. See this shim right here? That's what this is, okay? And what it does is, it puts grease in between the pad and the shim, because that's a large metal contact patch that could prevent squeals and stuff if any moisture and any dirt gets in there, brake dust. If any of that gets in there, it'll cause it to squeal, and if you've never heard a squealing brake, it is horrible. So trust me, you don't want it. And all you do is, let's see if I can show you. Remove to expose adhesive. That's what that says right there. Remove to expose adhesive. So all you do is you pull that off on your new pads, not on the old ones. That's why I still have it on there. And you can see how it orients itself. You take it, put it on one side like so, pull it down past the other side, and then you put it in location, and then you put it on your brakes, in your caliper, and then you slide it on the rotor. That will help it stick, right? Because it's an adhesive. That'll help it stick to the back of the pad, but it also has just a slight little bit of lubrication in it to help prevent the squealing. But you got to have this if it comes with it. If it doesn't come with it, don't worry about it. Just take some of this, right, the ceramic stuff that comes with, and just rub on the back of it. Anywhere that it makes contact with any metal surface is where you want it. Pretty simple and self-explanatory. As you can see, I've got it all touched up now. I'm just waiting on it to dry. And then I'm going to put the grease on here and put the pads in. As you can see, I've got those done. The other ones are not. I'm going to do those and let everything dry, and then we'll just move on to the other side. Put it back together and move on to the other side. Wipe the hands off. Clean up just a little bit. Hey, I just did that like 5 minutes ago, and it's a little tacky. That's no big deal. We're going to get everything ready to go. Pads are all nice and dry. You want to touch them, make sure they don't feel damp. They're not warm to the touch. So now I'm going to go ahead and put the backing plate on it. All you do is look and find the right one, as you can see, with these particular brakes that I have, and every one will be different. Some come with them, some don't. Every manufacturer is different. All right. Now, like I was saying, sorry about that. My battery died, so I had to go charge it. Every manufacturer is different. But all you got to do is pull it off, stick them on there. As you can see, you can't screw it up. The holes line up, the grooves line up. That's all there is to it. But you want to take some of the grease they give you and spray it on anywhere where the brake pads meet. Right? Doesn't take a lot, just a little bit. Make sure it's on there. Wipe it off your hands. Take this back down. Everything's drying out to the touch. And then you're going to take the inner pad and put it on first. And as you can see, it goes the same way as the shape of that, or you can look at it, it goes the same way as the shape of the rotor. Okay? Put that side of the spring in first, and then the other side, and it'll snap right in place. And then the outer, we'll do the same exact thing. And it'll probably scuff up my paint, but oh well. But as you can see, these tips go in these holes, and these springs push against that, which keeps it pushed tight. Now I found the easiest way to do it is just take something and tap them on. Doesn't matter what you use. They're not hard. It's just good approach. It's not hard, it's just getting it started is what's so hard. Then all you do is take the grease once again, and right here where everything rides, put a little dab, right? Rub that in, because anywhere where you have a metal to metal surface is where it's going to squeak and squeal and raise cane. Doesn't take a lot, just a little itty bitty dab, right? Work it in. You're now good to go. Prevent my paper towels from flying everywhere, hitting the microphone and all that good stuff. But now all you do is you take this, set it on that rail, right? Let me say this too, if this keeps wanting to fall down on you or lean out, it may cause you a problem. All you have to do is take one lug nut, put on it, and run it down. And that will hold it tight, see? If it don't, get you another one and put it on the bottom. The main thing is remember to take these jiggers off before you go to put your wheel on. You'll be amazed at how easy it is to forget that. But now your rotor won't be fighting you as you put your brakes on. But as I was saying, line that up there. and simply slide them on. You may have to give them a little tap, and if they don't want to go, that means the pin is out too far. Take a screwdriver and push the pin in, and it should go because they are now oiled. Bingo. And as you can see, the paint wasn't quite dry, but it's all right. Now you gotta do is start your bolts back. I recommend starting them by hand first, because it's real easy to cross thread this stuff. And if for some reason it's tight, you just break it loose. There we go. The reason you do this is you want to find your threaded hole. Sometimes it goes right in, sometimes it doesn't. See, that one went in, so that one started. You just wiggle it until it starts. There you go. Now we tighten her down. You don't have to absolutely kill it. It just needs to be tight, because they will not back out. And there you go, brand new brakes. I'm going to put the wheel back on this side, do the other side. No sense in you watching me do that side again. Same as this, just repeat it on that side, and we'll be back and finish it up. Alright, as I mentioned before, check this. We done that side. Now let's check it. As you can see, it is slammed full. So if we compress this side, which I hadn't done yet, that's going to be spilling out. So all you have to do is take a turkey baster or some kind of absorbent rag or towel. It's halfway clean. Just stick it down there and let it soak some of it up. Pull that out, throw it away. Turkey baster, syringe, anything you got that you can get some of that fluid out, because that's going to be a mess if you don't. You get it on the ground, you get it on the painted surfaces. Brake fluid and paint don't mix, so then you'd have to clean this surface, which then means the ground's going to get wet, which means the car is going to get wet. Everything's going to be soaking wet. But all you have to do is take some of that out, get it down to about where it was to start with, and then do it again. And then when you do it the second time, when you compress this side, or the second side, depending on which side you start on, you'll be good to go. You don't have to worry about it, but check it and make sure it's still full, of course. One more time. Now I recently bled these brakes. I put all brand new brake fluid in it, and I'll be sure to include that video so you can see how easy it is to do that if you so choose to try it. There we go. That's about where it was when I first started. So let's put the cap back on it and do this side, and then we'll be back and wrap it up. It's the same exact as the first side. Alright, we're down to the wire. As you can see, got this side finished. Back together. Last three steps, and they're very, very simple. Check your brake fluid. You can see that slot in the back. You don't want to be higher than the top of that slot. On this particular model, that tells you how high your brake fluid needs to be. On the newer model cars, you'll have a minimum and a max somewhere on the side. Always go by that, so that's good. Inside the car. What you will want to do is switch your car on and pump the brakes. What that will do is, let me spin it around. What that will accomplish is, you now have your brake pads off your rotors. And if you don't, oh God, I look rough. If you don't pump your pads, as soon as you take off and go to hit your brakes the first time, it's going to scare the living daylights out of you, because the pads are not meeting the rotor. So be sure to pump them right after you get done before you put any tools up. That way you remember. But all you got to do, you don't even really have to switch it on, but But with today's power brakes and electric brakes and all that, I recommend doing it. But this being a 93, I don't have to. But watch how far the pedal goes in. So it goes all the way down to the floor. That is the floor. So just pump it a couple times. And then look at that. No play at all. They're set. That's all you got to do. The final step. Take it for a drive. Again, crank your car up. Make sure you have brakes. Put the car in drive. Go down the road about 20 miles an hour. Come to a gentle stop. Don't slam on brakes. Just come to a gentle stop. Go down the road again. Do it at 40. Come to a gentle stop. Go down the road. If you have to, go to a school somewhere and do it. Or go down the road, 40 miles an hour, gentle stop. You're good to go. You will have no brake problems. You will have brand new brakes, and the car will the car will stop better than it ever has before. I guarantee it. So with all that said, let me get over here and put tools up, and I'll be right back with the closer. All right, like I said, we want to set the brakes, and here's how you do it. Let me spin it around so you can see what I'm doing. Crank the car up. Let it prime the pump. Oh yeah, sounding good, boy. I got a bearing going out on the alternator, so I got to get that replaced, but I'll get that this week. But we're going to take this for a quick little drive. Well, like I said, you crank it up, you check your pedal feel, and since this one doesn't have electric brakes, the brakes feel fine. So now, I'll put it in a drive up the driveway, get it up to about 10, right at the end, and then come to a regular stop. Just come to a nice, easy, regular stop. Then we're going to get it up to about 20, 25 and do the same thing. 20, 25. Now we're going to hit the brakes. Nice, gentle stop. Now we're going to go down this little road right here, and we'll get it up to a little higher. Traffic, traffic, traffic. Welcome to Hemi Bridge, everybody. Alright, now we're going to pull in here. We're going to do our final two. Get over this little hump. They still haven't finished paving yet. Now we're going to get up to about 35 or 40. Just regular driving conditions. There's 35. Now we're going to slow down like normal. Come to a stop. Nothing drastic, nothing crazy. And that's all there is to it. The brakes are now set. Now we can drive it back home, park it, and we are finished. Well, with all that said, I just wanted to put this video out there because this video will work on any and all, well, almost any and all vehicles. Of course, the supercars it won't work on, the exotic stuff like that. It's along the same lines, but they use way different fluids and everything. But it will work on your trucks, it'll work on your SUVs, it'll work on all your standard cars in America, in the United States, and even abroad. If you have 4 pistols, like you said, you press one side if all you got is C-clamp, do the other. But with all that said, that's all there is to doing the brakes. It's very, very simple. Just a few basic tools. All you need is a jack, a lug nut wrench, a screwdriver, something to press the brakes with. And that's it. That's all you need. My tools and everything, I had them because it makes the job go quicker. That's why I have them. That's why I use them, because I do it for a profession now, you know, as a mechanic. And I don't need to be taking all day sitting there with a regular Allen wrench, undoing that bolt, undoing it. Pop it loose, hit it with the cordless, and I'm done. And now with all that said, get out there and enjoy your car. This is so simple to do. It will give you a sense of satisfaction like you wouldn't believe. Yeah, it'll seem complicated your first time, but it's not. It is really very, very simple to do. So get out there and enjoy your car. Get that car maintained. Keep the brakes good. I don't want you hitting me or anybody I know. Now let's go home. Yeehaw! We'll see you in the next video. You guys take care. Thank you for watching.